Today there was a fatal shooting at Florida State University. 2 dead, 5 injured as of the time of the recording of this program. Florida State University is my alma mater. My heart swelled with pride and concern when I saw law enforcement running toward danger on the campus that I spent a lot of time on. We know that the suspect has been detained and that there are injuries that still are being worked through. Tallahassee police have confirmed the deaths so far, and we pray for comfort for all of those impacted by this senseless event. Florida State had previously endured a school shooting 10 years ago at the campus library. I knew the shooter. His name was Myron May. He and I went to FSU at the same time and were involved in student government together. There was a veteran of our military just feet away from Myron as Myron shot up the library. That veteran wasn't allowed to have a gun because FSU is a gun-free zone. The veteran told now Congressman Greg Steube, who was in the legislature at the time, that he wished he could have had his firearm with him to protect others. The debate over gun-free zones continues across the nation, and gun-free zones often experience far too much gun violence. We learned more today about the efforts from the Biden administration to attack the Second Amendment rights of Americans. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard blew the whistle on this crazy scheme that they had devised. A declassified 15-page report dubbed the Strategic Implementation Plan for Countering Domestic Terrorism reveals Biden's ATF was gearing up to criminalize millions of law-abiding gun owners, roughly 40 million people, over things like pistol braces and so-called ghost guns. This isn't about safety. It's about control. Gabbard, no fan of bureaucratic overreach, exposed this as a backdoor assault on freedoms under the guise of counterterrorism. The plan? To turn these lawful gun owners into felons overnight and then to go after them. Here with us now is Executive Vice President of the American Firearms Association, Patrick Parsons. Patrick, I want to talk about this revelation we learned from Director of National Intelligence Gabbard, but first, your reaction to this shooting at Florida State University, a gun-free zone.
Yeah, it's been all over the news today, Matt. It's good to be on. First things first, we're learning a lot of details about the shooter as we speak right now. But the reality is this, the radical left, every single time something like this happens, they call for gun control, and we're just not going to put up with it. Florida State University and all schools in Florida are gun-free zones. We want this guy to be brought to justice. We've just learned his name here recently. But the left, I was watching CNN before we came on here, they're already on there calling for gun control, looking straight at the camera and demanding Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump pass gun control. We say no. We're going to fight them wherever that comes up, whether it be in the Florida legislature or in Washington, D.C.
I don't think we should be playing defense against gun control. I think we should be playing offense to vindicate the Second Amendment rights of all Americans to be able to protect themselves. Will your organization and others maintain the offensive to try to get rid of some of these gun-free zones?
Absolutely, Matt. The gun-free zones, time and time again, we see these guys who want to kill. They target gun-free zones. They know that the professors there are not armed, the students there are not armed, and that's exactly what happened today at FSU. And we look forward through our state organization in Florida called Florida Gun Owners to pushing legislation to repeal gun-free zones in Florida. And quite frankly, in Washington, D.C., we need to repeal the Gun-Free School Zones Act.
No question about it. Patrick, we learned how devious the Biden administration's plan was to attack gun owners in this major declassification from DNI Gabbard. When you saw what they were planning to do to make criminals out of tens of millions of Americans, what was your reaction?
Well, not much of a surprise, to be honest with you, Matt. You were in Washington at the time. I spent a lot of time there. We spent 4 years of living hell with the Biden administration attacking our Second Amendment rights. That was their plan that DNI Gabbard released in public or declassified. But we saw it every single day, every single week, every single month of the Biden administration. And that's why we're so adamant here at the American Firearms Association going on offense now. We're approaching day 90 of the Trump administration. We've got 100 years of federal gun control to tear apart in Washington, whether it be getting rid of the ATF, getting rid of the National Firearms Act. But the reality is this. One day, the Democrats are going to take back over the White House, probably the House or the Senate. I don't know when that may be, but they are going to go for the kill on the Second Amendment. And that document that we saw today was exactly what they want to do and more.
That is their battle plan. And we shouldn't look at it and say, oh, well, thank goodness Joe Biden didn't win. There will come a time where someone will dust off this document and they will try to execute this plan. And it is to take people who have no intention of violating the law and use criminal process to go after them if they have like a pistol brace. Talk a little bit about how pistol braces are helping veterans enjoy the sport of shooting and improve their mental health.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, pistol brace is one of the things that they went after at the ATF and the Biden administration. I know you fought that hard. They just want to criminalize millions of Americans, whether it be someone who's disabled who's using that, or if you just want to use a pistol brace, because millions of Americans use them and have them. Any little thing that they could do, whether it be through the executive, through the legislative, or through the courts, they want to use to try to restrict our Second Amendment rights. We have a Second Amendment in this country, period, and it says it protects our God-given right to keep and bear arms. We're staying on the offense in state capitals in Washington and in courtrooms across the country, and we plan on doing so now and well into the future.
What are the executive orders President Trump can get on right away to vindicate more Second Amendment rights for gun owners?
Well, look, I think repealing all of Biden's executive orders, period. All of them haven't been repealed. And a lot of the rules that came out of the ATF under Director Dettelbach, who is now gone. But what we say at the American Firearms Association is the ATF should be treated very much like USAID and what they're trying to do with the Department of Education. It is get rid of it, put the building up for sale on Zillow, sell off all of their assets, put all their guns, ammo, everything else up for public auction. And I think the Trump administration could do that tomorrow afternoon with a stroke of President Trump's pen, get rid of all the executive orders, and let's start dismantling 100 years of gun control that goes all the way back to the National Firearms Act in 1934.
That's our battle plan. You just heard it from Patrick Parsons. The left's battle plan is to try to make everybody a criminal and go after them. Our battle plan should be to take the ATF, realize the things like the forensics lab that could go to the Department of Justice, the ballistic work that could be done elsewhere, and completely get rid of this enforcement mechanism that has punished the people who sell firearms lawfully and legally, and then in turn punished the ultimate gun owner. Some of those executive orders need to be dealt with, but I'm interested what signal you think, Patrick, the president is sending without having like an empire builder as the head of the ATF. Now it's the Secretary of the Army. Previously, Kash Patel was in that acting role. Do you think that the people who have the authority at ATF share the vision to dismantle the entity?
Well, I'm not sure yet. For a while there, Kash Patel, as you know, was named interim director of the ATF. Now you have the Secretary of the Army. We're still finding out quite a bit of information about him. What we've seen is the counsel over there was fired, was a hardcore anti-gunner, was replaced by a pro-gun scholar. Just the other day, some disappointing news. The deputy director has been named Mr. Cicada, who's a 20-year veteran of the ATF. So it remains to be seen. We're hopeful for changes, but at the end of the day, the thing should be completely eliminated, destroyed, torn apart, taken apart, maybe leave one or two guys to process paperwork and sell the place off. But I think that would be a monumental victory for Second Amendment supporters in this country. And as I mentioned earlier, if the left ever gets power back, they're going to put that thing on steroids and come after us again.
You've got organizations in various states. I know you work Capitol Hill hard. Where could people go to find out all the work you're doing to track and advocate for and against this important legislation?
AmericanFirearmsAssociation.org. We're on all the social media channels. And you're right, Matt, we have close to 20 state groups all across the country, from Georgia to Washington State to Missouri. We even have California popping up to fight gun control there as well. New York, all across the country. Check us out, AmericanFirearmsAssociation.org. We say that even the NRA isn't nearly as strong as us on the Second Amendment. In fact, we think they're a little bit weak.
Patrick Parsons with a hot take to end his interview. Thanks for being on the program and sharing your insights.
Thanks, Matt.